I grew up in the Philippines, in the city of Manila. Me and my family were there for about 10 years, and then we moved to Karachi. My dad was working in Karachi at the time, and I grew up with dance. The Philippines is a very dance-friendly country in that sense. Dance is a very important part of Filipino culture. So growing up in that culture, you just learn to appreciate and sort of express yourself through dance, much in the same way like India does. Contemporary dance came as a direct result of my early training in ballet. When I was in school, my mom put me in dance and movement class, and then I gravitated towards ballet because it was very acrobatic, it was very athletic. You had to do a lot of physical work. So I grew up with that, and then when I came to Pakistan, I couldn't continue with it. So it wasn't until years later that I picked it up again when I went to NCA and began performing, and I figured out that contemporary dance was a great way for me to express myself lyrically through my body and use contemporary dance as a way to express myself beyond the canvas. Well, directly, there weren't a lot of direct influences for me as a young dancer because, because the change in geography from the Philippines to Pakistan. But the influences were very indirect. The cultural influences of Bollywood and coming from the Philippines, which is such a dance-friendly country. But also, I was influenced by a lot of ballet that I was watching in movies, at a lot of beautiful recitals that I could see that was available to me in television or music or different mediums. So not necessarily there is one sort of influence, there were many, and they weren't very direct because I discontinued my practice at a very young age, and then I came back to it years later. So no, I would say that there weren't many direct influences, but indirect influences in movie and television. Yeah. Well, the decision wasn't mine to make. My dad was moving around a lot in Southeast Asia. He was, because of job reasons, he was in Malaysia, and then he was at Hong Kong at some point. And then I was in the Philippines with my mom, so then my mom and dad finally decided that they needed to stick to one place. So my dad came back to Pakistan, which is where he's from, and he found work in Karachi, and me and my mom followed him to Karachi. How it affected me, I think just the fact that you're moving to a whole different country with different language, different kinds of people, different environment, everything was just so different. So the change was very drastic, and it took me a lot of time to adjust to a completely new environment because I was speaking Tagalog, and in the Philippines, which is a native language, and then I had to come and, nobody understood Tagalog. I had to learn Urdu, which is a completely different language. So the servants that we had were speaking Urdu. Everyone was speaking Urdu. At my school, everyone was speaking Urdu. So I did not know how to communicate initially with the people around me. So I had to learn fast, because then, time doesn't really wait for you. So I had to learn to adapt to a whole new environment. It was very hard. Plus, not just even thinking about it as a dancer, as an artist, but just as a human being, it was very difficult to just adapt to a whole new environment. Yeah. What inspires me to dance? Just like any art form, dance exists because you want to express something. You want to express a feeling or an emotion or an experience. So a lot of what I do and a lot of what I express is from whatever I experience in life, whether that's, a good experience, bad experience, heartbreak, or, victory. So a lot of things that are very universal to all of us, emotions of love or hate, jealousy, anger, envy. It's just a way for you to, or for me to express myself in a way that's so direct. Even like when you're painting or you're drawing, you can draw a line, with a brush. But when it comes to dancing, you draw the line with your hand or your arm. So it's kind of, the inspiration comes from the desire to want to tell the other person what I've been through or what I've experienced. Because I feel like nothing is a better teacher in life than experience. Experience is the best way to go through something and make your own decisions about it. So if you tell, or if people start telling each other their experiences, I feel the world will become a better place, just because we learn to sympathize with what the other person has gone through. So it's a way of communication ultimately, and I communicate through dance using my personal experiences as my inspiration. I was very fortunate to be surrounded by great dancers who were either trained or semi-trained, and they were very, very helpful to me in the way that they shared what they know. When I was in NCA, I was part of the performing arts society called NT Mime, and what NT Mime does is a lot of contemporary dance routines. And my directors at the time were Sherazad Junejo. She is a contemporary artist of Pakistan, and she's making quite a name for herself. And then Shiraz Malik. And also, I used to come back to Karachi for vacations or breaks, and it was, I think, one of the breaks where I met Sahai Abro, and just spending time with her and sharing what we knew about dance. That was the way I sort of, had an informal training to the art of dance. So contemporary dance is funny in that way because it doesn't require the hardcore training and form that Bharatanatyam or Kathak or any of these dance forms do. It's a very loose dance form, and that's why I love it as an art form, because you can interpret it the way you feel like. But with contemporary also, I mean, I was fortunate to have that ballet background, and because of that, I had the natural extensions that you need. But essentially, that's all there is to contemporary dance. It's the extension of the body and its willingness to tell a story. So I had that, and it just became a matter of finding the right story to tell and having the right people around you to tell that story. So with collaboration and a lot of mentorship, I was able to polish myself as a performer and a dancer and a performing artist. I don't have a daily regime of dancing. However, I do have a daily fitness regime, which I follow religiously, because when a performance or a show is coming up, if you're in form physically, then it's just a matter of catching the rhythm. So with my fitness regime, it requires a lot of athletic movements. I do a lot of stretches, a lot of lunges, a lot of push-ups, a lot of your basic, body muscles have to be. Your center has to be very strong as a dancer, especially contemporary, because a lot of contemporary is balance and extension, and you have to do a lot of circular movements. So a lot of your core muscles, like your stomach muscles or your bicep, triceps, and then your leg muscles, they have to be in shape and they have to be ready. Particularly for me, who doesn't dance every day or every week even, but if a show is coming up or if there's a performance coming up, then I'm still in form. So basically dance is, dancers are athletes with rhythm, It's a very athletic experience of dancing, because not everyone can dance. And with contemporary, there's a lot of partnering. A lot of my dances involve, picking up people who weigh more than I do. So for that, you need to be very strong. So to keep that strength, a regular exercise is what I do. And when it comes down to a performance, then almost week-long or 2-week-long rehearsals. There wasn't a formal decision that I took. मैंने कोई एक दिन फैसला नहीं किया उठ के कि I want to be a performer. But people told me I was good. My friends were doing it. So it was something fun. It wasn't something that I wanted to pursue as a career. I never thought that, I'll be doing as many shows that I have. But it just became something that I started with, I was good at. It was fun. It was a great way to interact with different kinds of people. It was a great way to get together, meet people. And for me, it was all about that. It was all about the experience of coming together and producing art with our bodies. So that was it. So there was no decision per se, but yeah, I think it was an unconscious happening of sorts that happened, and I started performing. Of course, being calm and composed helps me to perform, because you can't really be jazbati all the time. You can't be, just do a random move. You just can't do something out of the blue. Everything has to come from a point of intent. और जिस intention के साथ आप एक move करते हैं, that is what tells the story. उससे आपको आप उस कहानी को बयान कर सकते हैं viewer को कि आप क्या बताना चाह रहे हैं. तो if you're calm and you're composed, तो आप बेहतर सोच सकते हैं उस तरह से कि आपने अगला मूव क्या करना है, जिससे व्यूअर को समझ में आए कि आप कहना क्या चाह रहे हैं. तो खैर मुख्तलिफ परफॉर्मर्स, दे हैव देयर ओन वे ऑफ, उनका प्रोसेस तो सबका अलग ही होता है. सम पीपल आर वेरी जज्बाती. आई नो डांसर्स दैट आर हाइपर ऑल द टाइम, एंड but it also transforms unke dance form mein. Like a lot of hip hop dancers are always jazbati, they're always hyper, they're always high. But a lot of contemporary dancers, it helps for them to be calm and composed, because when you think of contemporary, you think of very graceful expressions, very graceful extensions, very graceful moves. So calm or composed hona is part of the dance form, and also being a good actor. So you just have to express yourself, and being calm and composed helps me to do that. My parents have always been really supportive of whatever I did. Ever since I was a kid, I was crazy. I was always hyper. I was always like into everything. I was into sports. I was into arts. I was into theater. I was into public speaking. I was into everything. And my parents, I don't think they understand everything that I do, because they're both engineers and I'm an artist. But they are very supportive. Yeah, they've been to almost all of my shows, all my art shows, all my dance shows, whenever they take out time from their busy schedules. And they think that, yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought about what my parents think about me, but because they've been so supportive all my life, that I'm sure they're happy for me, for whatever success, moderate success I've had. Before a performance, well, stretching is very important, but to get ready for the character that I have to play, I have to put myself in the mindset of the character. So it's a lot like acting or method acting, where you put your brain in the mind of the character that you're trying to portray. So whatever emotion that I'm trying to portray, I try feeling it, I try imagining real people. For example, if my character is hurt or my character is angry, I imagine real people from my life hurting me, or treating me in a way that would make me angry, so the character comes out. And then physically, I mean, I usually don't have a lot of makeup or whatever, but I try to have as much facial coverage so that people can see, my emotions. And usually with contemporary dance, it's done shirtless, so the forms of the body can be seen by the viewer, because that's very important. And I mean, it's a very risque sort of costume where, the lesser clothes you have, the better, because every muscle, every line of the body is important for contemporary dance. So usually I just dance like with a short pair of shorts on, or no shirt, so yeah. Well, I never really thought much about what, you know, people think. Even early as a child, I was very independent, and my family, because it's so supporting, I never grew up with the idea that, you know, whatever I was doing was unacceptable per se. But I mean, as a creative person, I don't really think about it. I mean, people will either love you or hate you, whatever you do. So, and quite honestly, nobody pays you to believe what they think about you. Nobody really, you know, how many people pay you to think about what they think about you? So I don't think that's ever affected me, and it never has, and it's not like I consciously make a decision not to let it affect me. It just doesn't affect me, and that has a lot to do with my upbringing and my parents. But yeah, but also you can't just do everything. You have to be very intelligent about what project you're doing, who you're associating yourself with, and also the exposure you're getting. So, I mean, living in the country that we do, you have to be careful about how you represent yourself. And if you represent yourself in a sophisticated way, then I don't think it should affect you negatively. So. If given a choice, yes, I would definitely choreograph, because I feel like I'm a better visionary than I am as a dancer. And that's just how I feel. People think I'm stupid when I say that, but I think it's so much easier when you have the idea and someone else is painting the picture for you. And that way it's also a much more involved, interactive experience. So it's not a selfish act of having whatever in your mind and just, you know, putting it out there, but it becomes more of like a gift to somebody, you know, the gift of the story that they take forward. So I think choreographing is something that I would consider in the long term, yes. I've enjoyed working with a lot of different artists. Khesta was a lot of fun to work with. Manowar Chow, great fun to work with. Jashinder. We did a performance recently for World Dance Day called Raqs Mein Hai Sara Jahan, and that was a great experience having to work with different kinds of dancers. But the person that I enjoy working with the most is Sahai Abro, and I keep telling people this: I wouldn't be performing or dancing if it wasn't for Sahai, because I don't know, with her it doesn't feel like work, it doesn't feel like dance, it just feels like something so organic and something so pure that you don't really have to, I don't really have to work hard to do anything, it just happens. So yeah, and Suhai was actually, when we met and we started working together, that was my first sort of big performance in Karachi, just the two of us. And then we did another show, and then so all my projects, and I keep telling people that Sahai is my manager because she is, and she is in some ways, because she represents me in whatever she thinks, because she knows me so well as a person. So whatever project she thinks that, you know, I would be comfortable with, she puts me in, and it's just great working with her. And she's not only someone I work with, she's also one of my best friends, and we have a personal relationship. So it's, yeah, so Sahai is my most favorite person to work with. enjoyed working with a lot of different people. I've collaborated with a lot of different artists. Just the last show that I did, World Dance Day 2013, Raqs Mein Hai Sara Jahan, I got to collaborate with Khesta Khan, who is a beautiful folk dancer, and I got to work with Munawar Chow and Jashinder, who is also another contemporary dancer. But out of everyone that I've worked with, the one that I have to say that I enjoy working with the most is Sahai Abro. She is hands down my favorite dancer. She's very versatile in how she adapts to different forms. And for a classical dancer, that's very difficult. So I have so much respect for her. And for her to be able to still do that and then come back to me and do contemporary dance is beautiful. And that's commendable. So I enjoy working with her, and when I do collaborate with Sahai, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like something that's very organic, something that's very pure, that you don't have to work hard at, and that's the kind of chemistry that you cannot learn. So it's just that natural chemistry that we have as performers and dancers. And we have a relationship outside of dancing. She's one of my best friends, and she knows the kind of projects that I like, the kind of standard that I've set myself, because I don't normally just do anything. So Sahai represents me very well, not only as a friend, but also as somebody who's in the industry and who's been there, done that. And she guides me and mentors me, and I hope I do the same for her. But for people who don't get a lot of opportunities to dance, I suggest just going on the internet and just searching wherever. There's so many schools now, after so many years, that teach you dance. For example, Nida Bhatt's Math School or Act 1. And there's so many producers now who are working with young dancers. Shasha Rabil is one of them. So just contact them, and they're very accessible. They all have Facebook pages, copycat productions, or made-for-stage productions. So a lot of production houses are actually looking for young, talented dancers to stage musicals or dance shows. So there's a lot that's happening. So if you're interested and you're passionate about it, then I suggest just go out and see what's out there. There are a lot of social pressures that are associated with dance, with our society, and unfortunately not everyone has had the background or the family support that I've had. So in order to combat that, I think the best way is to just, if you really love it, if you really want to, then who are you going to listen to? Are you going to listen to society telling you that you can't do something you love? Or are you going to follow your dreams? And my response would be follow your dreams, because you don't want to grow up and then regret not having done what you wanted to do. So, if you contact me, I'm accessible on Facebook or email. I can guide you as to how to go about, getting yourself started in the world of dance. So yeah, I'd love to help out. I have a lot of issues with the way dance is represented in our media. I feel like we as a society need to move away from the mujra culture of how dance is perceived. dance is a very sophisticated art form because उसके बहुत मुख्तलिफ traditions हैं, बहुत मुख्तलिफ forms हैं, जिसको समझने के लिए हमें तालीम की ज़रूरत है. So that kind of education will only come with an acceptance for the dance form. तो हम इसको जब accept करेंगे as a society, तो उसमें फिर जो education और intellectual aspect होगा, तभी फिर हमारे कौम को समझ में आएगा कि how important it is as an art form. When it comes to the general dance world, there is a lot of people, not a lot of people, who have sort of mastered their own genres, and now it's time for the young people to sort of, move out of that and do something new, something more interactive, and also educate society as to, what a beautiful dance form, art, beautiful art form dance is. My biggest support has had to be my mom. She has more of an understanding towards the arts, even when I was a little kid. So, and she's always been there for me through thick and thin. I mean, not to say anything to my dad or brother, but my mom just, it's an organic understanding that you don't have to construct, and it's something that, it's a support that's unconditionally understood. So even if I come home and I don't say a lot of things to her, she knows exactly what I'm going through. So I'll have to say my mom has been my biggest support.